I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they take a look at this and say, maybe we could just use one more game or two more games of Dylan Gabriel for more data, heading into the season. I doubt that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to see Dylan Gabriel on the field this season unless Shedeur has to come out of the game for one reason or another, gets hurt, can't start a game, whatever. I think.
There it is right there. Dylan is done. Stick a fork in him, Bobby. He's up out of there.
Hi, this is Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com on the Monday coming out of the bye week. Well, we had some news out here today. Kevin Stefanski announced that he's turning the play calling over to OC Tommy Rees. I think that's a great idea because they really had to do something coming out of the bye to try to shake things up with this sluggish offense. They're 31st overall in the NFL. They're 30th in points scored. The receivers are languishing. They're not really faring well at all in these games. And they just needed a new pair of eyes and a little bit of a new vibe on this offense. This also gives Kevin Stefanski an opportunity to oversee the whole process, to kind of keep an eye on things on the sidelines to make sure that the whole thing is going the way they need it to, offense, defense, and special teams. And I also think it's important that Tommy Rees, coming out of the college ranks not too long ago, brings a little bit of that college vibe. And of course, he's working with really, really young quarterbacks in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
An NFL insider just confirmed that Dylan Gabriel's season is officially over, and Kevin Stefanski was pressured to make the switch to Shedeur Sanders for the rest of the year. Kay Cabot, one of the most connected Browns reporters in Cleveland, just dropped a bombshell saying, "I don't think you're going to see Dylan Gabriel on the field this season, and that it's going to be Shedeur the rest of the way." But here's what has everyone talking. She revealed the Browns organization sees that it factor in Shedeur with his elite accuracy, strong arm, and ability to evade the rush, and they desperately need to know if they have to draft another quarterback in April. The writing is on the wall. Dylan Gabriel's girlfriend just put him in hot water with her social media rant, and insiders are saying Kevin Stefanski might be coaching for his job. What Mary Kay revealed about why this decision was made will shock you.
I think Dylan will be back with the team next year. I don't know if he's going to get much of an opportunity the rest of this year.
So she pretty much said, so if Dylan's still there, that leads me to believe Kevin Stefanski's still going to be there. There's no way they keep Dylan, bro. Hell no. Now, this is Mary Kay speaking again earlier today. Let's listen to what she said on this clip, y'all.
I think he's showing some things, and I just posted a column about this and where I think this might be going and what the situation is.
What if this is Kevin just going, look, you guys think it's bad with me calling plays? All right, I accept that. You think it's bad. You think it's me? Okay. I think it's okay. You want to think that? What happens now that if he hands it over to somebody else and it looks exactly the same? So is that not screaming we need more talent?
Well, anybody can look at this offense, and if anybody thinks it has enough talent, they don't know football. I don't mean to be that blunt.
I think you're right.
Since we had Jarvis and Odell, this thing has been lacking for wide receiver depth.
He's got the dust from trying to make some bread, some flour on his hand, going, okay, you know what? You don't like the way I'm making the bread? I clean my hands of it. Now, let's see somebody else make the bread with his bad ingredients. Oh, it's not rising for another person either. Maybe it isn't all me. Maybe it's the ingredients we're buying. We can do better than this. We can buy better ingredients.
I think Kevin's history as a play caller shows that it's not him.
Look, I'm going to be completely real with you right now. What we're witnessing in Cleveland isn't just a quarterback change. This is a full-blown organizational shift where the pressure finally got to Kevin Stefanski, and he had no choice but to admit what we've all been saying since June. Dylan Gabriel was never the guy. And now we have confirmation from the most plugged-in reporter covering the Browns that Dylan Gabriel's 2025 season is over. Let me set the scene for you, because this has been building for weeks. Actually, scratch that. This has been building since training camp, when everyone with eyes could see that Shedeur Sanders was the better quarterback, but Kevin Stefanski kept giving Dylan Gabriel first-team reps like he was Peyton Manning or something. It made no sense. And now, after Dylan looked like doo-doo, and I'm quoting the analyst here because that's exactly what he said, the organization finally had enough. Kay Cabot, who has her finger on the pulse of everything Browns, went on air and basically said what we've all been thinking. She said, "I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they take a look at this and say, maybe we could just use one more game or two more games of Dylan Gabriel for more data." But then she immediately followed that up with, "I doubt that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to see Dylan Gabriel on the field this season.
Insiders is letting it be known. Dylan Gabriel 2025-26 season is over. Yes, it has been the end of the road, and quite frankly, it should have been over weeks ago. Damn me, it should have been over a long time ago. It shouldn't have took for Dylan Gabriel to be hurt for all of a sudden for us to see Shedeur Sanders, because we all knew going way back to June, Dylan Gabriel was not the guy. Why was Dylan Gabriel getting them first team reps? Why was Dylan Gabriel being put on a pedestal that he could not live up?
That's not just speculation. That's an insider telling you, stick a fork in Dylan Gabriel because he's done. She said the only way Dylan sees the field again is if Shedeur has to come out of the game for one reason or another, gets hurt, can't start a game, whatever. That's backup talk. That's you're the emergency option now talk. That's the organization telling Kevin Stefanski, we're going with Shedeur the rest of the way, and you better figure out how to make it work. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Mary Kay said something that should have every Browns fan's attention. She said, I think they do see something in him, and they want to know, do they need to draft a quarterback in April? They have to know that. Do you understand what that means? The Browns organization is using these final games as an evaluation period for Shedeur Sanders. They're asking themselves, is this our franchise quarterback, or do we need to use our first-round picks to draft someone else? That's huge. That means they're not just giving Shedeur garbage time. They're giving him a legitimate audition for the future of this franchise. And you want to know the craziest part? The timing of all this is suspicious as hell. Dylan Gabriel's girlfriend, or fiancé, whatever she is, went on a social media rant this past weekend. Now, the analyst in the video said she pumped this young man in the hot water and definitely put him in a situation that he cannot get out of.
Horrible. And I think it's hard for any quarterback right now. I think even an established veteran might have a tough time stepping in here and trying to function with the way that this offense has gone this season. I think a major reason for that is the fact that Jerry Jeudy, for whatever reason, is not himself this year. And remember, Joe Flacco said, as Jerry goes, so goes this offense. And it just hasn't worked out this season. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the quarterback upheaval.
What do you think she was ranting about? You think maybe she was upset that Dylan was about to get benched? You think maybe she saw the writing on the wall and decided to go scorched earth on social media? Because the timing is too perfect. She melts down online, and then 24 to 48 hours later, insiders are confirming Dylan's season is over? That's not a coincidence. That's a girlfriend who knew what was coming and couldn't keep it together. But let's talk about why this decision was made, because Mary Kay Cabot weighed it out perfectly, and this is where Shedeur Sanders starts to look like the real deal. She said, I think he's showing some signs that perhaps maybe he actually can be a winning quarterback in the NFL. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's nice, but vague. But then she got specific, and this is where it gets good. Mary Kay said Shedeur has the it factor. Not he's pretty good, not he has potential. She said he has the it factor. That's the kind of thing you say about quarterbacks who change franchises. That's the kind of language you use when you're talking about someone who could be special. Then she broke down his skills. He's got a nice strong arm. He's got the ability to evade the rush. He's showing some things. He's got elite accuracy, a really nice touch on the ball. Elite accuracy. Let that sink in. A veteran NFL reporter who's seen hundreds of quarterbacks just said Shedeur Sanders has elite accuracy. That's not a word you throw around lightly. That's not something you say about a project. That's what you say about a quarterback who can win in this league.
Clip, y'all.
I think he's showing some things, and I just posted a column about this and where I think this might be going and what the situation is. I think he's showing some signs that perhaps maybe he actually can be a winning quarterback in the NFL. And the things that I see that make me believe this, and why I think the Browns probably believe this to a certain extent, is the fact that he does sort of have that it factor. He's got a nice strong arm. He's got the ability to evade the rush. He's showing some things. He's got elite accuracy.
Now, Mary Kay did acknowledge something important that we need to address, because it's fair. She said, "I think what makes this evaluation difficult is that the offense is horrible, and I think it's hard for any quarterback right now. I think even an established veteran might have a tough time stepping in here and trying to function with the way that this offense has gone this season." That's real talk. The Browns' offense is trash this year. The offensive line can't protect. The receivers, led by Jerry Jeudy, who's been a disaster, can't catch. The play calling has been conservative and predictable, so when you look at Shedeur's numbers, you have to consider that he's operating with one hand tied behind his back. But here's the twist that should make every Shedeur Sanders fan excited. Mary Kay said, even though the offense is horrible, Shedeur is still showing he can be a winning quarterback. Think about that. With a terrible offensive line, with receivers who can't get open, with play calling that doesn't suit his strengths, he's still flashing enough to make the organization believe he might be the answer. That tells you everything you need to know about his talent, because if he can look this good in this situation, imagine what he could do with an actual NFL caliber supporting cast. Imagine if the Browns use their draft picks to build around him instead of replacing him. Imagine if they get him some weapons who can actually catch the football. Now, Mary Kay brought up Jerry Jeudy, and this is important because it speaks to how difficult Shedeur's situation has been. She said, Jerry Jeudy, for whatever reason, is not himself this year. And remember, Joe Flacco said, as Jerry goes, so goes this offense. And it just hasn't worked out this season.
After he wins a game, whether it be preseason or regular season, and he doesn't need to be feeling like he's arrived yet. He needs to stay hungry and just...
He don't need to feel like, this is what I be saying. Who gonna call Mary out about that? First she say he's fun size. Now she talking about what he shouldn't feel like. He shouldn't be confident. He should, bro. Who gonna call Mary Kay out? That's what I want to see. See, Mary Kay be doing all these little interviews. Who gonna call her out?
Then she mentioned the sideline confrontation between Shedeur and Jerry that went viral. You know the one, where Jerry was in Shedeur's face, clapping his hands, telling him, that's wrong, that's wrong. And Mary Kay's point was that when your number one receiver is not able to contribute in a meaningful way, it's going to be tough on any quarterback. But you know what I notice? Shedeur handled that confrontation with maturity. He didn't back down, he stood his ground. He explained his side, and after the game, he took the high road and talked about building chemistry and needing time. That's leadership. That's not a guy who's going to crumble under pressure. And speaking of that confrontation, Michael Irvin, Hall of Fame receiver, Super Bowl champion, weighed in on it and destroyed Jerry Jeudy. The analyst in the video played the clip where Michael Irvin said, "The quarterback's not your enemy. You can't come and talk to this man any kind of way." Then Irvin got specific. "Jerry Jeudy, last week he threw you a ball. Beautiful ball. You caught it, but you were dancing around and fumbled it. I didn't see Shedeur come up in your face and say a word."
You can't come and talk to this man any kind of way. Yeah, we got a problem here. Let's discuss it. Let's talk. But come on, Jerry Jeudy. Last week he threw you a ball. Beautiful ball. You caught it, but you were doop, dancing around, and things went down. I didn't see Shedeur come up in your face and say a word. Jerry Jeudy, this is death.
Boom! That's Michael Irvin calling out Jerry Jeudy for being a hypocrite. Shedeur throws you a perfect ball, you fumble it because you're not paying attention, and Shedeur doesn't say anything. But then Jerry has the audacity to get in Shedeur's face when a play doesn't go his way. Michael Irvin called it as dumb as you can be. And he's right. Because if you're Jerry Jeudy and you're having the worst season of your career, if you're dropping passes left and right, if you're fumbling when you should be focused, maybe you should look in the mirror before you start attacking your rookie quarterback who's trying to figure things out with 0 first-team reps during practice. Now let's talk about Kevin Stefanski, because there's a bigger story here that people aren't talking about enough. The analyst in the video said something that should have everyone's attention. He said, "Word on the street is that Jimmy Haslam and the Haslam family has never fired a coach. They just let coaches find their other jobs and find ways to get the hell out of Dodge." But then he asked the question, could this be a situation to where we finally get to hear, hey, you know what, we're going to move on past you? And the answer is probably yes. Because think about it. Kevin Stefanski fought to keep Dylan Gabriel as the starter. He gave him first-team reps all training camp. He started him in games where he looked terrible. He refused to make the switch to Shedeur even when it was obvious Dylan wasn't the answer. So when the organization finally forced his hand and told him Dylan's done, Shedeur starting the rest of the way, what does that tell you about Kevin Stefanski's job security? It tells you that the people making decisions above him don't trust his judgment anymore. It tells you that he's coaching for his job right now, because if Shedeur wins out the schedule and the analyst believes he can, then Jimmy Haslam is going to look at Kevin Stefanski and say, why did it take you so long to make this change?
You can't come and talk to this man.
So that was Michael Irvin speaking about Jerry Jeudy. Man, but I am waiting, man, for somebody to call out Mary Kay, bro. Like, golly, bro. She be going sneak this and going in, bro. Down in the comment section, let me know y'all thoughts about this one, man. Keep them bills on. I will be back with another one. And until next time, man, turn me up. I'm out of here. Shake the haters off. Peace out.
The analyst said it perfectly. It should have been over a long time ago. It shouldn't have took for Dylan Gabriel to be hurt for all of a sudden for us to see Shedeur Sanders, because we all knew going way back to June, Dylan Gabriel was not the guy. Facts. Everyone with eyes knew Dylan wasn't the answer. Everyone except Kevin Stefanski. And that's going to cost him his job if Shedeur proves what we all suspect, that he should have been starting from week 1. Now, Kay Cabot said something at the end that I want to address because it's been driving me crazy. She said about Shedeur, I like the 1 week at a time thing. I like that because it keeps him hungry. He has a way of feeling like he has arrived after he wins a game, whether it be preseason or regular season. And he doesn't need to be feeling like he's arrived yet. He needs to stay hungry. Okay, first of all, who is going to call Mary Kay out on this? The analyst in the video was begging for someone to challenge her on this. He said, first she say he's fun size, now she talking about he shouldn't feel confident. Who gonna call Mary Kay out? And he's right to call that out, because what Mary Kay is doing is subtle shade. She's saying Shedeur gets too confident after wins, that he feels like he's arrived, that he needs to stay humble. But that's not fair criticism. That's just trying to find something negative to say about a kid who's shown nothing but professionalism and maturity. You know what I think? I think Mary Kay is still somewhat in Kevin Stefanski's corner, and she's trying to justify why they didn't start Shedeur earlier by saying, well, he gets too confident anyway, so it's good we made him wait. That's revisionist history. That's trying to make Kevin Stefanski's terrible decision-making sound like some kind of 4D chess move. The truth is simpler. Kevin Stefanski was wrong about Dylan Gabriel. He wasted the first half of the season on a quarterback who couldn't get it done. And now that he's been forced to switch to Shedeur, the organization is going to evaluate whether they need a new coach who can actually identify quarterback talent. Mary Kay also said, I think Dylan will be back with the team next year. And the analyst's response was perfect. He said, if Dylan's still there, that lead me to believe Kevin Stefanski's still going to be there. There's no way they keep Dylan, bro. Hell no. And I agree. If Kevin Stefanski is fired, which seems likely if Shedeur balls out, then Dylan Gabriel is gone too, because Dylan was Kevin's guy. Kevin handpicked him in the 3rd round, Kevin gave him every opportunity to succeed, and Dylan failed. So when Kevin goes, Dylan goes with him. But if Shedeur Sanders comes in and wins games, if he shows he has that elite accuracy, that strong arm, that ability to evade the rush that Mary Kay talked about, if he proves he has the it factor, then the Browns have their franchise quarterback. They won't need to draft someone in April. They won't need to bring in another veteran. They can build the entire offense around Shedeur Sanders and finally have stability at the most important position in football. The analyst said he believes Shedeur got a chance to win out this schedule. And you know what? I believe that too. Not because the schedule is easy, but because Shedeur is different. He's got the pedigree, he's got the talent, he's got the confidence, and now he's got the opportunity. This is Shedeur's chance to prove that all the doubters were wrong, all the people who said he was just Deion's son, all the scouts who let him fall to the 5th round, all the coaches who kept him on the bench for months. This is his chance to show the world what we've been saying all along, that he's a franchise quarterback. And when he does, Kevin Stefanski is going to have to answer some very uncomfortable questions about why he didn't see it sooner, about why he wasted half a season on Dylan Gabriel, about why he needed to be pressured by the organization to make the obvious decision. Because that's what this is really about. This isn't just about benching Dylan Gabriel. This is about an organization that finally had enough of watching their coach make terrible decisions. This is about Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Barry looking at the tape and saying, we can't waste another week on this experiment. We need to know if Shedeur Sanders is our guy, and we need to know now. And I'll tell you what, I think they're going to like what they see, because Shedeur Sanders isn't just good, he's special. And when you have a special quarterback, you don't let him sit on the bench. You don't waste his development. You give him the keys to the offense and you let him drive. The Browns are about to find out what a lot of us already knew, that Shedeur Sanders is the answer they've been searching for since 1999, that he's the quarterback who can finally bring stability to this franchise, that he's the guy who can win in Cleveland. And when that happens, we're all going to look back at this moment, this week when Kay Cabot confirmed Dylan Gabriel's season is over, as the turning point. The moment when the Browns finally got it right. The moment when they stopped making excuses and started building around their franchise quarterback. So let me ask you something. Do you think Kevin Stefanski deserves credit for finally making the switch to Shedeur, or should he be held accountable for wasting half the season on Dylan Gabriel? Do you think Shedeur is going to prove he's a franchise quarterback over these final games? And if he does, should the Browns fire Kevin Stefanski for not seeing it sooner? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you think Shedeur Sanders is about to go on a run and prove he's the real deal, smash that like button. If you believe Kevin Stefanski was pressured into this decision and didn't make it on his own, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're covering every moment of Shedeur's journey. This is just the beginning, and something tells me we're about to watch something special unfold in Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel's era is over. The Shedeur Sanders era has officially begun.